Member Sri P.V. Mithun Reddy.
Thank you, ma'am, for letting me participate in this discussion on demand for grants. Madam, in our state of Andhra Pradesh, the state debt is rising at an alarming level. The difference in the growth of revenue and the increase in debt there's a huge mismatch. And if you see, madam, after the new government has formed in the past 18 months, the debt of the state is 2,66,000 crores. It is the highest in the country that any state has borrowed. And if you see the previous government's debt for the 5 years, that is YSRCP government's debt for the 5 years, that is from 2019 to 24, is 3,32,000 crores according to the Parliament Minister's answer. The debt is really alarming, and if you see the growth of debt, it is growing at a CAGR of 22% in Andhra Pradesh right now, ma'am. It's the highest in the country, and the previous government was just 13.5%. Madam, the government is borrowing desperately through any possible means. If you see recently, Andhra Pradesh Mineral Development Corporation raised debt through NCDs, through private people. They borrowed at 9.3%, which is very, very high for a government to borrow. And they gave a commission of 1.5%, which is coming to almost 150 crores to private people. Madam, the worst part is the part of the conditions in these NCDs is that private people get access to the consolidated fund of the state. Imagine, madam, how can private people draw money without the government permission or without any official people? And most recently, right now, the Andhra Pradesh Beverage Corporation Limited has again called for NCDs for 5,950 crores, or roughly below 6,000 crores. And again with the interest rate of 9.9+% and a commission of 1.5%. Madam, I would like to recall that in the previous 2019 and 24, the Finance Secretary wrote to all the states saying that any borrowing you do through government subsidiaries to the corporations, it will be a part of the Article 293 of 3 of the Constitution, which says that all the borrowings, indirectly if you do also, it will be in the part of net borrowing ceiling, part of the NBC. And even in August 22, 2022, the Finance Secretary wrote to the Chief Secretary of Andhra Pradesh saying that the then government wanted to borrow same through NCDs through the Beverage Corporation Limited. They said this is going to be part of the borrowing limit of the state. So even you borrow through your corporations, it is going to be part of the borrowing limit of the state. Madam, right now, I would like to ask the government. Right now, the current TDP government has borrowed through APMDC, and now they are borrowing through Beverage Corporation Limited. My question to the Honorable Finance Minister through you is, has the rules changed then and now? When the previous government wanted to borrow, they said it is part of the borrowing limits. Is it part of the borrowing limits now or not is what we want a clarification from the government. Point 2 is that when the government banks are prepared to give at 6% interest rate, why do you want to borrow from private parties at 9.3%? Why do you want to waste public money, and why do you want to give commissions, 1.5% commission running into hundreds of crores? Is this not a scam, ma'am? This has to be taken up seriously. And the third part is that similarly between 2014 and 19, when TDP was in power, it was part of the NDA, they overborrowed, and then the next government, it was again deducted in the next YSRCP government between 19 and 24. Madam, and I want to ask the government, is it not a very bad precedent letting private people have access to the consolidated fund of the state? Imagine all the borrowers have access to the consolidated fund of the state. Everybody is going to put condition that we want this condition to borrow to the state, to lend to the state. What is the situation in the future? State will not have any access. There won't be any access for the government to control it. So this is a very bad precedent. The center has to step in and make sure that such conditions are not put up by the states. And we want the Honorable Finance Minister in her reply to talk about this bonds which the AP government is raising and which is against whatever rules set by the central government themselves, whatever letter the central government has written to our state. And coming to Manrega, ma'am, for the past 7 months, the labor component is pending in our state. The center, when we met the Honorable Minister, they said that the fund is ready, you have to talk to your state. Madam, the labor component has to be paid in 3 days. The Act says the labor component has to be paid in 3 days. How can the labor sustain for 7 months? And there are almost 90 lakh active laborers registered in the state and who are dependent on this. What is the future of, how do they sustain and how do they survive, ma'am? And the worst part is, from the Telugu Desam party, we have a minister who handles rural development from the center, ma'am. Mr. Chandrasekhar, I don't know if he's here or not. What is he doing? I don't know, ma'am. Even in his own constituency, the Manrega payments are pending for the past 7 months. This is a shame to our state, and it's really pathetic. Madam, we demand that Manrega payments be released soon, and the minister, at least somebody put some sense into the minister's head and make at least in his own state, the neighboring states of Telangana and Karnataka are much better off in Manrega compared to our state. And Madam, we oppose the privatization of Visakhapatnam steel plant. Systematically, step by step, it is being privatized. Our party demands that Visakhapatnam steel plant should not be privatized, and it should be, the government should support it with mines, madam. Without mines being allotted to Visakhapatnam steel plant, it will not be viable, and selling it at dead cheap rate is not an option. We oppose the privatization of Visakhapatnam steel plant, and this current government, it has borrowed 2,66,000 crores in Andhra Pradesh. They need just 4,000 crores to complete all the 17 medical colleges, which the previous government has taken up. Now, this government is planning to sell all these medical colleges to private people in the name of PPP, which we are opposing, ma'am. We asked the central government to step in. Already the central government earlier had given funds for 3 colleges, and now the rest of the other colleges also. We demand that central government step in and stop this process. Anywhere we go in Andhra Pradesh, ma'am, anywhere, any private hospital and any private, government hospital, you see thousands of people around a government hospital, and we don't find people outside because they are all profit motivated. So healthcare should be in the hands of the government, and we demand that the privatization of medical colleges not be there. And one more, the last issue, ma'am, Kadapa Bangalore railway line. Madam, the recently Honorable Railway Minister said, I am ready to do this project if your state provides the matching grant. Madam, TDP government is part of the NDA government. Through you, I demand the government, they provide the matching grant, and the funds for complete project has to be given by the center, because TDP and BJP is one and part in the state. So we demand that Kadapa Bangalore line, which is important, be taken up. Thank you very much, ma'am.
माननीय सांसद धर्मेंद्र यादव जी।